And we are live! Yes, we are here. It is time for Z Trigger Live, playing Chrono Trigger for the PS1 once again. And thank you for joining in. If you are joining in, I'm not sure if anybody's going to join in. Nobody did yesterday, but we're going to go on anyway. Yesterday we just, got the game started. We went to 600 AD and did all the first round stuff, and now we're going to go to jail. It's time to go to jail. Because, if you've played any Japanese role-playing game, you gotta go to jail. Gotta have that jailbreak scene in classic role-playing games. I think that was the biggest problem with Final Fantasy 15. You never went to jail. I'm still trying to get, freshened up and awake. I didn't get home till after 1 last night, so I'm a little zonked. But I'm off today, so we're going to play for as long as we can without getting tired. I mean, I have to eat at some point, so you have to listen to me eat. Alright. Back through the mountains. And if it's not obvious, I'm doing a New Game Plus run, so combat is not important to me. It's funny because I was thinking about it, and I've never actually played through the game on New Game Plus run. And I was just thinking this morning about the Lavos fight whenever you're in Zeal. The first time you can actually fight Lavos. And I've never gotten that far on a New Game Plus run, and I know that there's a different ending associated with the ability to finish that fight, but how do you get to the regular ending with all the side questing and stuff like that if you kill Lavos there? Do you have the option of just letting everybody just die and going through it that way? We're gonna say, I guess. Observe. I've got the science thing. You're amazing with your science thing. Oh, Luca. Well, if you say so. Gates are very unstable. And that's why we have the science wand to make it work. Reason why this gate appeared? Oh, things like your necklace. Yes, let's go back to our own time, because I don't want to get arrested. So as I was saying yesterday whenever I was doing the stream, I've played through Chrono Trigger 3 times. This will make, if I can go through it this time, it'll be the 4th. It's not a long game, so it's not the matter. It's just, too many games. And as with any RPG I've beaten more than once, I have a certain... I don't know how to exactly describe it. So, I have an issue where the opening hours of the game are always a bit slow, so to speak. So, going through this again is not my favorite thing in the world. I have always tried to figure out when Chrono Trigger starts being, one of my favorite games again, because, actually, it is one of my favorite games, but I want to get to a part whenever I'm playing through this game, so that it starts being the new game, the game that I want it to start being again, if that makes any sense. I'm sounding like an absolute idiot, but that has something to do with the fact that I'm talking to no one. But a microphone sitting in front of me. That's weird. Where that is for Chrono Trigger is very odd, though. I think it has to do with... I think it takes place after you get back from the future. Just because the future section of the game is a bit depressing. That's not even the right way to put it. I still want to get through that part just because it's what it is. I feel like when you get back and your party started to grow and it's a little more consistent, you know, you're hit the ground running at that point. You have no equipment that's worth a crap. You're a level 50-something character who just did, like, no damage. There you go. Oh. That'd be interesting on Earth. I guess I can't talk about this game right now without mentioning the hilariously awful Steam port that just came out. That's better. So yes, there is a port on Steam now, which should be the greatest news in the world, but instead we got, not only did we get the terrible mobile phone port, but the fine people at Squaresoft didn't even bother to change the font of the text to reflect the game that it's in. It's all this goofy looking Arial font text. Apparently the list of problems just, you know, goes on from there. I haven't looked because frankly I don't need a PC I don't need to pay Square $20 for a game that I already own, and they're not even putting out, and they're never going to make another game in the series. And frankly, if they did, I'm not sure that I'd want them to, because this is modern day Squaresoft we're talking about. They're not going to make this, they're not going to make the Chrono series game that I want. I mean, you could say that about Chrono Cross. There's a lot of people who think Chrono Cross is terrible, and those people would be wrong. They'd be really wrong. They'd be nauseatingly, disgustingly wrong. But Square's not capable of making a game that would appropriately follow this one. They would never be they're not capable of doing this anymore. And frankly, you know, as much as I like Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 15 is the most interesting execution of an idea I've seen, and not interesting in a like, oh my god, I love this kind of way. Interesting in that they kind of phoned it in. Well, they didn't phone it in. They had I'm circling myself right now. They had a great story set up that they had a great finale for. They had strong emotional beats for the story, but they didn't bridge the narrative, and they didn't establish the narrative strongly enough for it to be as impactful as it could. It's impactful purely through experience rather than writing. The game is about the relationship between Noctis and his buddies, and as a result, your time spent with them and the engagement you have with those characters, if you care about that, is the entire reason why the ending would work in any way. So you get a good emotional beat based on your playing the game for 100 hours, not because the game was written out to tell that story and to fulfill that narrative. It's odd. It's genuinely odd to me to describe that game, and that's why I haven't done it yet. I keep thinking about doing a second playthrough, New Game Plus with my level 80 whatever characters and all the swords and all that stuff that I have from playing the first time. Oh my god, shall we employ the guillotine? I brought your daughter home. Off with his head. You, the jury, shall decide his fate. We got this trial together really fast. I want to know how many days passed. You are hereby ordered to tell the truth. No abduction took place. That's right. That's bullshit, I say. We have witnesses that say that you bumped into the princess. Okay, that's not how it happened. That's not how it happened at all. She hit me from the other side, and then her sprite just jerked across the screen, and so did the pendant. Okay, that, sir, is circumstantial. You have facts that throw the defendant's character into question. Objection! You're full of... Alright. Chrono's character is at the very core of this case. It's funny you say that. Chrono barely has a character. He doesn't talk. But her fortune did not tempt me, no, because I'm so powerful that I don't need potions, and I already have some of the best gear in the game. Fine, noble young man. I guess hat looks like a flower. Not guilty. Woo! Not guilty. It's really a good idea to be lazy at the fair and not doing any of the games. Just be really nice to Marley and let her buy her cotton candy and then go to the show. Because then you can't be convicted of anything. See? Laziness pays off. Oh yeah. Usually I end up with at least one. I guess it'll be this guy. Yep, there he goes. Everybody's shaking their fists. Pretty clearly this man is not being seen as guilty. Still throwing his ass in the brig. He ran off with her, which is totally his fault that the princess left the castle. Throw him in jail for making sure she got home safe. That's enough. Go to your room and think about what you did. The last was for you to behave like a princess. Forget about events in the town that we lead. Because that's how a princess should act. She should not know anything about the commoners. By the way, this background is one of the most stunning things that the Super Nintendo has ever produced. And that one. Then the Chancellor was like, yeah, he's totally guilty and gonna be executed. I'm a terrorist now? Jesus. Take the princess on one date, and this is what happens. The execution is in 3 days. I don't seem to recall anything about an execution. No! You're wrong! This is not something that we would have circulated at all. Now 2 guards in the most uncomfortable looking armor in the world come in and stab the shit out of me. Got it. Alright, good job, gentlemen. Alright. Get up, Chrono. It is time to go on your final journey. Wrong game. Some sympathizers brought that stuff for me. I have sympathizers, but I'm a lousy felon. Get some good stuff. Alright. "48 minutes into the game and we're in jail." It's like if I played Morrowind. Or the first time I played Morrowind, where we basically messed around with mods the first time we even played. And I cut down some guy in the very first town with a gun blade that we modded in. Because I'm that kind of nerd. Oh, that's what I get for misbehaving? I'm gonna cut you down with my rainbow sword that they locked me in here with. Where do I think I'm going? Home. Actually, I'm not going home. I think I'm gonna go to the future. Oh. So let's talk game design here a little bit, and the size of a world in relevance to gameplay, because that's what you want to hear me talk about, me not being a game designer. So a Super Nintendo JRPG, we're talking about the relative golden age here of what people thought of whenever they talk about role-playing games. Or Japanese role-playing games, specifically. Because, you know, PC things are different anyway, because that's where your Western games were at the time. By and large. So, these worlds are made up of interconnected maps, obviously, connected by a larger overworld map, and in this case, a series of larger overworld maps, where you, you know, go to all the different aspects of the world. And as a result, the game feels large. There is a sensation of scale that is present to make you feel like you're going on the grand adventure, when what you're ultimately doing is exploring a series of smaller maps that are all connected by that large world map screen. The pace that you're walking on that map in terms of like each little grid space feels, it's slow enough that it feels like you are making like large steps on across that huge world. So that's how things continued going through the PlayStation era. and everything feels grandiose and epic and just big. I mean, let's just cut it down to the easy word. It feels big, and it's all about how the game feels rather than the reality of the fact that you are just walking across static backgrounds. What am I up to? Come over here and I'll show you. I haven't got an insulting word for you, sorry. Anyway. Then you get to the PlayStation 2. And this is the first time where developers were really able to make 3D games that were actually 3D rather than a 3D character running across a 2D plane of what is suggested as 3D. Because as advanced as Final Fantasy VII is, the only world aspect that you explore that's in 3D is the world map. Simple as that. But the game feels large regardless, because you still have that vibe where you're exploring that very specific place. Yes, save him. I don't know who he is, but that's a pretty horrible thing. What's your deal? You're a lifesaver. I'm Fritz. Fritz, what crime did you commit? Did you date the princess too? Anyway. But you get the PlayStation 2 and you get your first 3D games. Final Fantasy X and Kingdom Hearts are among them. Final Fantasy X and Kingdom Hearts being two of the most celebrated games of the time period. Final Fantasy X is the first example of the corridor in a Squaresoft game. You have a very specific path that you walk down for the entirety of the game, and that's it. You're on that path until the game opens up and you can revisit places on the path. And the difference between this and Final Fantasy 13 is you don't revisit the path at the end of Final Fantasy 13. You get Grand Pulse to run around on, and that's supposed to be the world-changing, massive, explorable place. But unfortunately, both of those games, that game feels small. Final Fantasy X feels small because you can, if you took combat out of it, and you can, if you take combat out, you can run across the entirety of Final Fantasy X's world in 15 minutes or so. That may be exaggeration, but like half an hour you can run across the entire Final Fantasy X's world. And that sucks. That's kind of pathetic. I'm not saying the game's pathetic, because there's a lot of good in Final Fantasy X. That is not an impressive amount of game time, or like world space to explore in a specific amount of game time. It would take you a long time to go through all of the classic Final Fantasy's world. Even Chrono Trigger, a game that can be beaten in the span of less than 20 hours, feels large because of the pace at which you're exploring it. Kingdom Hearts, God, Kingdom Hearts is actually a lot worse because each location feels like it would fit inside of a snow cone stand. It's a series of interconnected worlds by a larger world map that isn't big enough to feel like it matters in the long run. So your epic adventure across all the Disney worlds is not that big an adventure as a result. Or at least that's always how I felt about it, playing through the two that I had. The first one was far better than I feel like it's been given for us to believe at this point with the success of the sequel. Messages coming up. I may have to get on. I at some point, whenever I got a little more time and I finish Birth by Sleep, I'm gonna be writing a huge article about the design of Kingdom Hearts and why it's such a mixed bag. Why aren't you climbing? Climb where I want you to. I am at the wrong dungeon, or at the wrong part of the tower. Alright, let's go back. And now, this looks more familiar. Oh, there we go. Prisoners escaping! Wow. And, oh, okay. Are you gonna get in this too? Okay, good job, buddy. You keep running. Oh, there we go. Come to save you, although I don't really need that much saving. Oh, there you go, Luca. You agree. Let's blow this joint. Top secret document has been left on the floor. Dragon Tank Owner's Manual. A top secret document has fallen on the floor. Chrono Trigger Strategy Guide. I feel pretty confident I can take this down. What's that? This is gonna be really fascinating for you, Luca. It's a giant dragon machine. Forward, Dragon Tank! Crush those rebels! Those clear and obvious terrorists with their wild red hair and their laser gun in the year 1000 AD in their classically medieval setting. Alright. Man, your dragon tank is not impressive there, Chancellor. You gotta get those sweet lightning effects in there. Fix it! Oh man. That's gonna be awkward. Oh man. I'm just being an asshole now. Okay. Bye guys. Whew. They're escaping! Chase it! But he's a terrorist. The Chancellor said so. Of course. You know, Chancellor, you did a really good job getting off of the human broods that you made for me out there. Chancellor would probably make good on this whole basketball thing that's happening, out in the towns, rather than his terrible career in politics. We don't know where this is going to take us. This may take us to the end of the world. Literally. It's completely irrational. Man, that guy's jaw dropped to his toes, man. Needs to be careful, he's gonna step on his damn beard. You're right. There is no way the Chancellor will reach us here. He's dead here. Ladies and gentlemen, I may need to go get me some coffee. I do have some cash. They call these gold coins money? Buddy, you don't know any money's doing you too good. I thought in the future swords are still a like commonly used weapon. Shithead. Give me my potion back. Doesn't react to guns or swords, huh? Let's see. Seemed that resilient to me. I wonder what the rats would steal if you didn't have potions in your inventory. Nothing wrong. Get some freezing rainbows. Now these, I think you did have to use some sort of magic item to kill them. Tomato baby. I'm gonna say this, and I realize that it would be irrational. Please do not misunderstand me. I think that as many RPGs as the SNES Classic has in it, Chrono Trigger's exclusion is depressing. Whenever we ended up with something like Super Ghouls and Ghosts being on there. Because that game is not fun. It's just obnoxious. And, you know, we could have had another RPG on there. Especially Chrono Trigger, because I've never played okay, so I've played it on the PlayStation. I guess this will make 3 times now. And I played the DS version through once. And I messed around with the Plus one on there as well. But we don't need Super Ghouls and Ghosts. We need Chrono Trigger. I know, this is a route. Talk to some more sad people. Who are you? Hey you, where are you from? Your clothes, they look ridiculous. Yes, we can beat up the freaky mutants. We have magic. Yeah. It's because none of the people that you have here are capable of just killing everything in a single hit. Looks like a statue. Really can be irritating. Giant robot. Yeah, beat it. Alright. Yeah, 300 whole experience points. Something reeks. It's our food supply. She's a medical examiner now. Unless what stinks is really that guy. So hopeful. Here you go, done. It's the only thing I got. Sorry, my drowsiness. I've forgotten something. I need to drink some coffee. That is not a joke. I am legitimately zonked over here. I'll put a pause on our live streaming here for a while. It takes my wife too. She just texted me. There we go. Unless she could get away from me. Usually does at least once or twice. My phone keeps buzzing. Ah, the corners always get me. best lavas, but this rat and this fucking on these rafters is the end of me. Don't bother. Let's go back. Nobody came to this live stream to watch me fail to catch this rat. That's what I failed to do like 7 times now. Damn. The real reason why I hate the future. Catching the rat. Got him. Look at that. Time to kick up the real plot of Chrono Trigger. Big bug with a long neck. And now it's been squashed. Experience points. Yep. I totally know how to use computers, even though I only have like mechanical things rather than actual actual computers in my time. East of Aristone. Across the racetrack. Over here. Visual record of the Day of Lavos. You know, in retrospect, this is very forward thinking because as prevalent as smartphones are now, if the apocalypse was to happen, people would video it on their cell phones. What is that? Hormone. Yes, let's change history. There won't be any horrible repercussions of that. Ian looks like, sounds like a bad idea, but hey, let's do it. Next stop, Protodome. Go back. He's very confused. Well, of course, it's because you're healthy. Kills me. This is what, 2300 AD. So that means that these people have lasted 300 years on a dead world. My apologies, give me a moment. Alright, time for another irritating thing, the race. I say it's irritating because, frankly, the fact that there's a fail state for the race, like, logically speaking, it doesn't make sense to me. It's not a hard race. I mean, it's not difficult. It's just, you drove over there. Like, you drove the course. Yet, there's, yet the fact that the fact that you didn't win the race means that you went all the way back, and that feels counterproductive. Lowlifes can call me a Johnny. Let me get a reminder. Alright, let's do this, because you're obnoxious. Although this, you know, you could say that this was, you know, the beginning of their penchant for little side games. So we didn't really have this sort of thing in Final Fantasy at the time. Not yet. Did I win? I didn't see. It's close if I didn't. I think I won. If it'll load. I did. Sweet. Like I said, not hard, just a little ridiculous and obnoxious. Alright, moving on. Crap, I haven't equipped Luca. Wow. All this time. Thought I did. Didn't I? I did. Huh. She just had a critical failure of a shot then, because she did 1 HP damage. Hey Rob, Robo. I went with Rob because Rob the Robot. Why did I do that? Hey, we get one of the few cutscenes in the game. I wonder if she's got a soldering iron in there too. I've never seen something like this before in my life. It's literally over 1,000 years in the future, and I can totally fix this. Whew. No. This is Chrono. He never talks. And here's Luca, the science girl. Just Luca will do. Alright. I'm a model number. Let's give him a better name. Something really generic that'll fit inside of 4 or 5 characters. Of course, I'm just gonna leave it alone because that's how I roll. Robo, short for Robert. Robert Bot. What's happened here? There were humans. You would be right. It's time to go turn the power back on. Makes more sense. Alright. Let's go, pals. Oh, I need to equip your gear. There we go. Can you be more ridiculously powerful? Holy shit. My wife just got in a car accident. Oh god. We may be cutting this very short today. She says she's okay, other than... Oh. Swear to God, people in Raleigh cannot drive. I'm gonna cut off, I'm gonna end the stream for now. I'm sorry, everybody. Thanks for joining in, and I will see you next time.